name's Ayline, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I'm here to show you how to play the guitar and sing at the same time. I myself am a singer, and I taught myself to play the guitar so that I could accompany myself in the singing. It was very challenging, but it was very, very fun along the way, learning the things that I did. So I'm going to share some of the things that helped me be successful in doing that. I hope you enjoy what I'm about to teach you. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is pick a song. And song choice is absolutely crucial when you're trying to sing and play the guitar. You want to pick something super easy to play and super easy to sing. You don't want to pick something complicated because you don't want to set yourself up for failure, okay? So for me, my guitar playing is very limited. I'm not great at playing bar chords, so if I needed to change a key, I would use my capo. So my suggestion is play songs that require, the C major chord or a D major chord or E minor chord, D major chord, these types of chords where you're not, barring and moving your hand this way. It's very difficult for me. Now, if you're great at it, go for it. Do it. The only limits we have in life is the limits we put on ourselves. So if you feel you can do that, go ahead and do it. So what you want to do when you pick a song that's super easy, what you want to do first is listen to the song. Listen to the song over and over again. Know what the chords are in the song. And then what you want to do is just maybe practice the guitar only. Don't try to sing it and play right away. What I did was I really listened to the song and I played the guitar to the song. Now, sometimes the song may have been too fast for me, right? Because I'm trying to learn how to play and sing at the same time. So what I did was I would pull up the guitar tabs, see what the chord sequence was, and then practice that on my own. So, for example, we're going to take the song Riptide. And I know in that song, I'm using my capo, and the three chords in that song are E minor and C major, and then into G major. Now, I wanted to jump right in and start singing and playing the song because it was such a fun song to play and sing. But if I'm limited on singing and playing at the same time, I really have to take it slow. Use the metronome. Believe me, it will help you. So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to count to 4, strumming. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just felt successful because I was able to go from an E minor to a C major to a G major, right? In that rhythm. Now I want to kind of do it in the rhythm that the song is. And again, only one strum per chord, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I did was I actually said the chord as I played it, because then it was forcing my mind to think of words to say as I'm playing and strumming the guitar. So for example, A minor, C major, G major, 2, 3, 4. A minor, C major, G major, 2, 3, 4. Okay? The next step I did was I would pull up the guitar tabs. I would really pay attention to where the chord fell on top of the actual lyric, right? So you wanna know when to switch the chords. And looking at the guitar tab really forced you and helped me to know when to switch the chord at the right time of the lyric. So that's something you really want to do. It's super crucial to really get that drilled in your head independently, okay? Independently. Don't try to do both at the same time because then you're just going to get frustrated. You don't want to get frustrated. You want to feel successful so that you do it again. And the best way, honestly, to feel successful is keep it simple, go slow, and take the proper steps of learning them independently first. So 5 things. Simple song. Listen to each part independently. play the guitar to the song, sing the song without the guitar, and then practice it on your own with the guitar tab. Paying attention to where the chord falls on top of with the lyric. We're gonna try it with one strum. It's I was scared of dentists in the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversation. All right, maybe you want to go slower. Go slower. It's okay. The next thing we're gonna do, the next thing I did was try to add another strum. I was scared of dentists in the dark. 3, 4. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversation. Oh, all my friends are turning green. That can't seem very good if all your friends are turning green. But anyway, you get the idea. Now I know you know how to play the guitar. Again, pick a simple song. Keep it simple chords. Try to avoid the bar chords unless you think you can do it already. And listen to the song. Very crucial. Find your rhythm. Do one strum, but lay the vocals on top of that one strum, and you will feel so successful and like a little rock star in the making. So have fun with it. There's nothing stressful about it. I hope I taught you something new. And just keep it simple. Keep it simple and you'll be super successful. Okay? Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. And take it up just a notch a little bit. All right. Have a great day.
Today I'd like to talk about playing in different positions on the guitar. As you probably know, the guitar is blessed by the ability to play the same note in many different positions, and that allows us for a lot of creativity because each note can be played with different colors. And it's a good idea to learn the guitar by playing the same passage in different places, even if it's impractical, just to get a sense of the possibilities of where the notes are and the different combinations you can combine notes, and of how you can combine notes. And also it's nice to hear the same music with different colors. So just to give you a small example, suppose I was to take the famous opening of Lagrima by Tárrega, which people play like this. And just for fun, see how else you can play it. Like you could do it in the 4th position, or the 9th position, or if you're feeling masochistic, you could do it up here. Let's see how'd that go. Or you could play with harmonics. So it's kind of fun to hear the piece in different ways like that, and you get to know where the notes are. So it's a good exercise, and it also helps your sight reading. And so you might ask, which position should you do? Obviously you want to find one that's easier to play than not, if you can. There's some obvious tips to look for. If the music has low notes, if the guitar is tuned in the normal way, and you see an F, well then you're pretty much stuck in the 1st position because that's the only place you can play this F. Or if you have a very high note, up here, well that's the only place you can pretty much do it. I mean, unless you're up here, which it's awful to be up here. So then you're pretty much stuck up here if there's very high notes. If you see very low notes and very high notes, then I would probably just sue the composer. Or if you can't afford a lawyer, you could try using harmonics. So you could do something like this, maybe. And that would allow you to play some high notes while keeping your low notes down here. It's also sometimes you can use the key to help you choose a good position. There's no real rule for this, but if you play scales, you'll start to get a feel for this. For example, E major, keys with 4 sharps, they do well in the 1st position, the 4th position, and the 9th position. Those are positions that are friendly for 4 sharps. The 2nd position, for example, is a nice position for 2 sharps, for D major or B minor. And the more you get to know about keys, the more you'll learn about that. Then another question comes up about how to shift between positions. One nice thing about trying to play in a single position is then you don't have to shift so much. And shifting often creates the problem of creating gaps in the music. But sometimes, of course, you have to shift. And some people like to shift because they want to keep the melody on the same string. But if you do have to shift, look for open strings that allow the guitar to keep ringing while you're shifting, and that sort of hides the shift. Or try to find a guide finger so you can sort of slide using one finger to carry you along. But you don't want the shifting to be jerky or feels like you're hopping around, because that's very noticeable usually. The goal with shifting is that if the listener were to close their eyes, they would not be able to hear that you're shifting. So one exercise I do, for example, is I'll go from my 1st finger to my 2nd finger, just like that, and then I'll do my 4th finger to my 1st finger and try to make it sound just as smooth as my first finger to the 2nd finger. If you're really in trouble with shifting, then I recommend that you cough very loudly during that shift, and that will cover it right up. Okay, thanks for listening, and take care. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Bo, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about the left hand technique and things to consider for left hand fingerings. First, let's brush up on the proper posture of the left hand. Make sure the left hand thumb is straight and hiding behind the neck so it wouldn't peek out as you're playing. Always use your fingertips to press down the strings, and make sure your fingers are nicely arched and pressing close to the frets. Now let's take a look at some examples of things to consider when deciding on fingerings. First, avoid hiccuping. This can be avoided by not using the same finger twice in a row. So let's take a look at this short passage in Farkas. You can use the 2nd finger for the A note, but since the A finger is needed right after that, you might want to consider using your 3rd finger instead of 2nd, like this, instead of the 2nd finger. Did you notice that little hiccup in between? And here's another example. In Recuerdos de la Alhambra, we naturally want to use this set of fingerings for this chord, because this is the chord shape that we're familiar with. However, it has a little hiccuping in the melodic line if you keep this fingering. Instead, take a look at this other set of fingerings. This will help you keep the top line legato. Another thing to consider when deciding on fingerings is timbre and nuances. For example, this passage in the Castelnuovo Tedesco, there are 2 possible ways of fingering. The first way avoids using open strings to keep a steady timbre. However, the second way lets you do this nice portamento from B flat to F, adding a little nuance like this. So So these are a couple of examples of things you can consider for fingerings. It's really up to you to make decisions like this based on your personal, musical, and technical reasons.
Hi guys, I'm Marco Piperno from a little town near Lecce, in Italy. First of all, I'm sorry for my English, but the music is universal, and as we will see, luckily for me, many terms are in Italian. When Marta Masters proposed me to do some video for the American school, I thought, it's incredible, but when she proposed me a STEM, the basic Italian terms, I was very enthusiastic, especially as an Italian guitarist. Then I started to think at my study, how many Italian terms there are in music. I was impressed because an Italian student doesn't think this many times, because the language is the same. There are not many studies about this, but G-Music dictionaries of the 1700, the Rousseau and the Brossard. One of the most important reasons was at the success of the very important Italian composer of the 1600, such as Vivaldi, Corelli, Torelli, Albinoni, and especially because the printing of a score in that time was very expensive, and many following composers like Bach copied and studied the score, note to note and terms to terms. I will do some example and sometime I will play something to understand each other better. To simplify, we will divide in 4 categories this class: directions and moods, dynamics, time and articulations. Now we'll talk about the moods and directions. On the upper left of the scores, an expression like andante, allegretto, grazioso, and many times we also find them in the scores between the pentagram. The first case shows the character of the whole piece and the time approximately. The second one shows the character and at that precise moment. Now we will understand some little but important difference among amabile, appassionato, amoroso, grazioso, scherzoso, scherzo. For example, this year the obligatory piece at the GFA competition was Caprice Variation by George Rochberg, transcribed by Elliot Fisk. Here we can find 51 variations, and all of them have different movements. This makes us understand how the indication can be important to diversify the interpretation of the piece, even under a sentimental point of view. In these variations, there is one of my favorites, Andante Amoroso. Andante establishes the time, that is walking speed, moderately slow, and Amoroso the character, with love, con amore, with every sentiment that for us and especially for you is the love. This is my interpretation of Andante Amoroso. Another important example that we can do is Manuel Ponce's Sonatina Meridionale and Sonata Romantica, where we can find many of these terms. In the first movement of the Meridionale, we see printed on a scale grazioso. That means that the composer doesn't want a speed scale flamenco style, but a graceful one, grazioso. I don't know in America how you use this term, but in Italy, for example, is used as describing for a cute child. Instead, the title of the third movement of Sonata Romantica is Scherzo, joke, and in the third movement of Sonatina Meridionale, between the pentagrams, we find ironico or scherzoso, playful, ironic. The first one is different from the second one. Scherzo is a movement of sonata in 4 movements and means that the time is in 3, 1, 2, 3, with an important accent normally in the first movement. But the character is not always funny. For example, etc. Instead, in the meridional, scherzoso means playful in a way that almost make you laugh. For example, there are many terms that I would like to examine it with you, but the time is finished, so see you at the next episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good time.